What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our NFL season predictions, and in this one, we'll be talking about the AFC South. As always, I have my boy Ethan joining me for his predictions as well as we predict all these games. But before we get into it, hit that subscribe button down below to be entered into our giveaway at 500 subscribers. Well, we'll start it off here with the Houston Texans, and what did they do this offseason? They only lost two key players, but then if you look at that additions, this
It's a
team
long
went
list.
crazy.
Yeah.
We brought in a new head coach, D'Amico Ryans, a former player, which I think is going to be a great fit there in Houston. Two quarterbacks, rookies C.J. Stroud and Case Keenum. Devin Singletary, two receivers with rookie wide receiver Tank Dell, who's looked great in the preseason. Robert Woods, Dalton Schultz. I mean, the defense, Chase Winovich, Denzel Perryman, Shaquille Griffin, and obviously defensive end Will Anderson Jr., who they took at the third pick. So this team has a lot of hope. And obviously, Ethan has a little more hope for them than I do. I just think it's a tough start to the schedule. The games that I could see them winning before the bye would be Indy, Atlanta, and New Orleans, but I just don't think it's happening. I think it's too early for Stroud. But I think out of the bye, he'll get a win, play a few teams that, they should beat but won't. And I think they end up at 4-13 and then kind of a disappointing season if you want to look at it in that way. But I think these Texans are just a year ahead of themselves. I just think that not this year, but next year is the year that I think this team could contend for a playoff spot. And this will just be, just a lump year for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're going to be around that 6-11 mark. D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud, I think, are going to really change the culture around. I mean, they brought a whole new offense in and really boosted up the O line with Shaq Mason, really boosted their defense as well. So now they have some players. I don't think they're quite there yet. Their roster just up and down that roster just doesn't really look like a playoff team. We will see how CJ Stroud does, but I think he's gonna show promise this year, and it's not gonna all be great. But they're playing a pretty tough schedule, especially towards the end of the year. And a 6-11 season for this team, I really don't think that's terrible. I'm with you. I think next year they really, if they have some additions next year as well and keep getting better, sky's the limit. You never really know with a new head coach and QB.
Then the Colts are next here, and I have them going 6-11. And, they already have announced Anthony Richardson as the starter over Gardner Minshew. And I think it's going to be very good for him. I think Richardson could be a rookie of the year candidate. And I say this because Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator from Philly, is coming over and is now the head coach. And, well, you know what they had last year and the year before with Jalen Hurts putting up career numbers and MVP numbers. And if Anthony Richardson can figure it out and be able to stay in the pocket and not always have to leave the pocket, I think this Colts team could turn it on coming out of their bye. It is a very favorable schedule coming out of the bye. Besides the tough games in Cincy and Pittsburgh, all those could be winnable games if this team is clicking at the right moment. And don't be too far-fetched. If this team finishes 8-9, closer to 8-9, then I have them at 6-11. It's just because the start of the schedule is a little grueling. Um,
Yeah.
but I think they can really pull it together at the end of the year. Then this Colts team could be the team next year, kind of like the Lions this year, that's heading into next year with the team that, all right, this team could be really good this year.
Yeah, it really all depends on Anthony Richardson. Their ceiling could be 10-7 even if Anthony Richardson shows QB1 upside. I do think they will finish 5-12 though. Like you said, the start of that schedule is just very, very difficult. And then they play Cleveland and New Orleans, which those aren't two easy games either. And then 2 weeks later, they got New England at New England. I just think after that start, it's going to be very hard coming out of that bye and trying to make a playoff push. And it's going to be too tough for the rookie and the new head coach.
And then the Jacksonville Jaguars, kind of the heavy favorites to win this division. And, obviously we both have them winning this division with a little asterisk there. Didn't
Yep.
really lose a ton, and they didn't really add a lot either. The only notable additions were Tank Bigsby backing up Travis Etienne and the kicker Brandon McManus. And on paper, I think Trevor Lawrence is due for his career year with that not easy schedule, but a down division and playing the NFC South this year. Well, it's destined that those teams don't really have good defenses. And I think Lawrence could have a big year. And I mean, if you really wanted to, we could have put Calvin Ridley on that key additions list because he's now reinstated from his suspension. And, a lot of people are buying into Calvin Ridley just like I am. I think he's going to have an excellent year. I think he's going to be the breakout player that comes back and, kind of everyone forgot about this guy and has a great year. And don't forget about this defense too. This defense ranked top 10 last year, a sneaky top 10, which can prove pivotal come the last 4 games.
Yeah, stifling defense and combination with Trevor Lawrence may taking a huge step this year, even taking a huge step last year from his rookie year. I think even a bigger stride this year. Adding a true wide receiver 1 with Calvin Ridley, that offense is going to be scary. Very quite favorable schedule. There's a world where they could be the first seed, and that wouldn't surprise me. The Chiefs playing in that tough AFC West, depending on with the Broncos, but that's for another time. Jacksonville playing in a very easy AFC South should definitely take a division, and if they don't, then not looking good in Jacksonville.
And then my second favorite team now, because I'll be moving there this time next year, and it'll be very close to them, so I feel like I have no choice, are the Tennessee Titans. And this team, I think, is the biggest question mark in the AFC right now. Quarterback, who knows? I mean, it's probably going to be Tannehill, but Levis looks not the best. Malik Willis, they already wrote him off last year, but now he's doing really good. Adding D-Hop is huge for them. I don't think that it's noticed as it should have been. Getting rid of AJ Brown, they really didn't know what they were doing at the time. And I think that one bit them in the butt. And, you saw it last year with Treylon Burks when he was their wide receiver 1, they struggled and they didn't have a quarterback to really move the ball down the field. So what did they do? They got D-Hop and added help to Burks. Getting Tajay Spears as well, I think is going to be an underrated move. Kind of this year's draft, Danny Woodhead, just like Deuce Vaughn, could be a pivotal third down pass catching back out of the backfield for the Titans. And I just don't see it on paper, them getting to the playoffs, finishing 6-11, a tough start to the schedule, 2 on the road games with teams looking to prove it this year, and then finishing with 4, not tough games, but 3 out of the 4 are divisional games. And at the end of the year, those games always mean more. And I think that's where the Titans lose their season.
Yeah, I also have them going 6-11. Huge addition with D-Hop. Got to say that. Will Levis has not looked great. So I do think Tannehill will be the starter. Really see if he can get some comeback player of the year votes. If he does, the Titans are good. And with the Titans, the way their organization is ran, they're never going to be worse than 6-11. So they could end up winning 9 games this year. I just don't see that happening with a very tough beginning and end of the schedule. We both have them combined going 0-7 in those the first 4 and the last 3. So that's something to watch out for.
And then you can see my playoffs here so far for the AFC. It looks like 2 teams out of the AFC West will be making it, but stay tuned for our next video to see who makes them. And then Ethan?
Yeah, so I got the Jacksonville Jaguars obviously winning the division. 2 6-11 teams could go either way. Like I said, the Titans could be up there 9-8. And then the Colts. This is a very questionable division, probably the hardest one to pick out of these AFC teams. So we had to do it though, and we appreciate you guys for watching and tuning in.
Yeah, but that's going to be it for this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to be subscribed to our channel and for that giveaway at 500 subscribers. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.